No's seem way bigger to people who never get a yes. Let me say it again. No's seem way bigger to people that never get a yes. So when you run large numbers, that means you get yeses, and those yeses is what keeps you coming back. Today, we're going to talk about everyone's favorite subject, which is rejection. I know you love being rejected. I know your favorite conversation is rejection. I know your favorite thing to hear about is rejection. No, I'm just kidding. I know it's not. And the reason it's not is because the quality of relationship that you have with rejection is not a good one. Matt, what do you mean? You're saying I need to have a quality relationship with rejection? That's exactly what I'm saying. Because rejection is not the opposite of success, it's a part of it. Rejection is not the opposite of winning, it's a part of it. And rejection is not the opposite of sales, it's a part of it. And so to have a relationship with sales means you got to have a relationship with rejection. To have a relationship with success and winning, that means you got to have a relationship with rejection. I'll give you a great example. I love my wife to death, and we have an incredibly quality relationship. At least that's what I think. Hopefully she feels the same way. I'm just kidding. I know she feels the same way. But here's the deal. Do you know what I don't like? Is when I put something out and I go to get water and I come back and it's put away. My wife loves everything clean. And I'm not saying I don't like things clean. But what I am saying is I don't like to have to go get things back out when I just got them out. I love our relationship. I just don't like that part of it. But that part of it comes with the relationship, which means I love every part of my relationship. I love her. It's the same thing when it comes to rejection. There is success and what's required to be successful, and then there's rejection. And rejection coexists with it. So for me to not like success means I don't like rejection, and I got to change that paradigm. I need to realize that it comes with it. It's part of the package. It's part of the reason you love it as a whole. And so if we can learn to have a love for it, if we can learn to have an appreciation for it, now all of a sudden the way that we view rejection changes, and it's no longer something that we're afraid of and are trying to avoid. It's just a part of the overall love for the game. You know, as I dive into the 10 points that I'm about to get into right now, one thing that I think is very, very important is that it's not even that you're afraid of rejection, it's that you're afraid of what everyone's going to think about you. If you look at the number one addiction in the world, it's not drugs or alcohol or sex or whatever addictions there are out there. The number one addictions are not those things. The number one addiction is the addiction to what other people think. That's the number one addiction in the world, the addiction to what everyone else thinks. So it's not even that you don't like rejection. You just care so much about what everyone else thinks that you avoid rejection like it's a plague. You avoid rejection like it's COVID. Like you just avoid it at all costs because you're afraid of what other people can think. So if we overall just overcome that, rejection no longer matters. Here's the deal. I know you're not going to be able to fix that overnight. Everyone to some level cares about what other people think. Even me, even though it doesn't affect me so much, there's still a level of, I wonder what they think, right? We all have that. So now it's how do we coexist? How do we build, once again, a relationship where we can make sure that we get through, we can come out on the other side. And that's what I want to give you guys here today. So I want to give you guys 10 points on things that you can do to deal with rejection. Number one, accept rejection as a part of winning. Just accept it. It's going to happen. And I think the more you can just accept it, the easier it becomes to deal with it. I think if you don't accept it, your expectations are going to be get unmet very often. Why do people get frustrated? They get frustrated when an expectation does not get met. Why do people get annoyed? When an expectation does not get met. They have an expectation for a restaurant, that expectation doesn't get met, they get frustrated with the restaurant. Same thing here. You're going to be very frustrated with business and sales if the expectations are not set out the gate. Rejection is a part of winning. Number two, understand that not everyone sees things through your lens. So just because you see the big picture, that doesn't mean they're going to see the big picture. Just because you see the value doesn't mean that they're going to see the value. It all comes down to people's perspective. It all comes down to the lens that people see the world through. So just because they're saying no to you doesn't mean they're saying no to you. It's really that they're saying no to the lens that they're seeing life through. They're saying no to the lens that they're seeing the product to. They're saying no to through the lens of that they're seeing the opportunity through. They're not saying no to you. They're saying no to the lens that they're looking at things through. If God gave them your vision, they would have your vision. You probably look at life a little bit different. You probably have big goals, big desires, big aspirations. You have a quality of life that you are chasing. Well, most people in this world have settled for average. Most people in this world do not have big goals and big dreams. Most people in this world do not think small. So why in the world would they see things the way you see things? You think big, which is why you're listening to this. They think small, which is why they're not listening to this. And then you wonder why they don't see things through your lens. It's kind of crazy when you think about it like that, right? So we just have to realize not everyone sees things the way that you see things, and that's okay. Do not take that personal. Number three, people are not saying no to you. They're saying no to their own limitations. Well, Matt, what do you mean about this? Meaning everyone places limitations on themselves. And oftentimes when they've placed a limitation on themselves, they transfer that limitation onto you. Meaning they see you about to try something, and because they don't believe that they can do it, they now transfer that onto you, or they don't think you can do it. What happens to you in those moments? You become doubtful. You become worrisome. You start to have levels of anxiety. You start to think, well, can I do this? Can I succeed in this? Is everyone going to say no to me? And you have to realize that they are placing the limitations that they've placed on themselves on you. And you have to be very, very careful of that. So important. They're not saying no to you. They're saying no to their limitations. Let's say you're trying to sell somebody a product and all of a sudden they can't afford that product and they're saying, no, I'm not interested. Are they saying no because the product's not valuable? Or are they saying no because they can't afford it? Okay, so their financial limitation is what's leading to them saying no. Not because you're not skilled, not because you're not a quality person. Their financial situation says, I can't afford this. So that is a limitation that they have that's keeping them from moving forward. They're not saying no to you. They're saying no to their own current limitations. One of our guys in our organization, he said, I got 4 no's today. And the 4 people said no to the current product that I offer today. And I had 4 people say yes yesterday. Well, what does that mean? That means that the 4 people yesterday were able to move forward. The 4 people today weren't able to move forward. And so the way he looked at it was, they're not saying no to me because I had a whole bunch of people that have already said yes to this. Based off their current situation, they said no. And it's very important that we know that and that we understand that. People aren't saying no to you. Number 4, know that it's a numbers game. When you go into sales, sales is a numbers game, meaning people are very predictable in large numbers. So if you run large numbers, your income becomes predictable. The problem that I see most people make is they don't run large enough numbers for the ratios to work themselves out and for the results to become inevitable. They run small numbers. The problem is people are not predictable in small numbers. People are very unpredictable in small numbers, which leads to unpredictable income for them and their family. So we have to realize that it's a numbers game. There's going to be a lot of people that say no, and that's not a bad thing because that leads to a yes, which leads me to point number 5, which is go for no. I want you to write that down. Go for no, go for no, go for no. There's only so many people that can say no to you. And enough no's leads to yeses. So going back to the numbers game side, let's just say your closing ratio is 10%. Meaning if you talk to 10 people, 1 of them is going to say yes. Okay. Well, what does that mean? That means 9 no's leads to a yes. So instead of getting sad about a no, get fired up and excited about a no, because that means you're 1 no closer to a yes. Go for no. The faster you get through the no's, the faster you get to the yes. Here's the deal though. What I want to encourage you to do is whenever you get a no, evaluate a little bit, not from a discouraging perspective, but from a skill development perspective. Why did they say no? What could I have done earlier in my sales presentation to not get this no? Could I have answered, or could I have called them a little bit different? Could I have answered the phone a little bit different? Could I have interacted with the client a little bit different? So always evaluate so you can try to improve your ratios. But if your ratio right now is 10%, just realize that means every 9 no's leads to a yes. So instead of getting discouraged about the no, get excited about it because you're 1 step closer to a yes. Number 6, desensitize yourself from the no. Well, Matt, what do you mean? Okay. Meaning if you are very sensitive to a no or a rejection, you're going to get distraught so often all the time. Okay. And so here's a question that I want you to ask yourself. If I've heard no 1,000 times, would this even be bothering me right now? If I've been rejected 1,000 times, would this even be bothering me right now? And the answer to that question is it wouldn't. You've desensitized yourself to the no. You have made it so that way the rejection doesn't bother you anymore because you've experienced it so many times. It's no big deal. So when you start to change your perspective of like, all right, if I've dealt with this 1,000 times, is this a big deal? If I've dealt with this 1,000 times, would this even faze me? If I had dealt with this 1,000 times, would I be worrisome? Absolutely not, because I've done it 1,000 times. And so when you're able to put yourself in that position up front, now what it does is it makes the rejection and the no a lot easier to encounter, because in your mind, you've already dealt with it 1,000 times. It's no big deal. Number 7, okay? Number 7, I want you to take your 2 fingers and I want you to put it right below on your neck so you can take your pulse, okay? So just put it there. If you're driving or listening to this on podcast, whatever it is, just take your 2 fingers, your pointer finger and your middle finger, and put it on your neck so you can monitor your pulse, okay? So you ready? I want you to keep it there. No, I'm not interested. I don't want this. Stop calling me. Are you still alive? Oh, you are. You are still alive. So what does that mean? That means a no and a rejection is not going to kill you. So why do you take it so personal as if it is going to kill you? It's not that big of a deal. Just a no, it's just a rejection. So what? Who cares? Who's next? Go on to the next one, on to the next one. Stop taking it so personal. You're not going to die. If somebody rejects you, you're not going to die. If somebody says no, you're not going to die. You're going to be okay. You're going to stay alive and you're going to make it through. So have a level of confidence in that. Number 8, run super high volume. Why is this so important? It's important is because when you run small numbers, you feel like a failure because of how many no's you're getting. But when you run large numbers, you get a lot more yeses, which makes you feel a lot more confident. And so what happens very often is no's seem way bigger to people who never get a yes. Let me say it again. No's seem way bigger to people that never get a yes. So when you run large numbers, that means you get yeses, and those yeses is what keeps you coming back. I'll give you an example. I am not a quality golfer. I wish I was, but I'm not. But do you know what keeps me showing up to the golf course? When I just connect the club and the ball. Oh my gosh, when you just hear the sound and the ball just goes straight and it just lands on the fairway or it lands on the green, like that's what keeps you coming back. So I might go golf 18 holes and I might have that happen maybe 5 times, but that 5 times is such a good feeling. It makes up for all of the slices and all of the missed balls that I had to go find in the bushes and all of that. The 5 times the club connects perfectly with the ball, that keeps me coming back. And it's the same thing when it comes to sales, right? When you run high volume, no's become insignificant simply because you're getting yeses, and those yeses are so great that they make up for all the no's. And so no's seem way bigger when you're not getting any yeses. And the only reason you're not getting any yeses is because you're not running large enough volume. So run larger volume. Number 9, it's not a no, it's a not now. If you're offering a product that everyone needs, if you are selling something that people can't live without, it's not a no, it's a not now. Let me give you an example. I have a woman in our agency. Her name is Megan. And Megan, when I was 16 years old, was my manager at Jamba Juice. And when I came into the financial industry, the life insurance industry, for about 6 to 7 years, I tried to recruit her into my agency.
And she always said, no, 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 no.
And for 6 to 7 years, I followed up with her. Megan is now making $60,000 to $80,000 a month, like clockwork, part of our agency. Imagine if I took her no as a permanent no. What if I stopped following up? That would have been a very expensive mistake from a business perspective. And even more importantly, it would have been an expensive mistake from a personal perspective because we have an incredible friendship and I love having her a part of me and my family's life. And so I say all this to say is it's not a no, it's a not now. They might tell you no, but in your mind, whenever somebody says no, just interpret it not now, not now, not now. It's not a no, it's a not now. Whatever product you're offering, it's a not now, right? They're going to eventually come around. They'll eventually buy it. They will eventually need it. It's just a not now. And then last but not least, number 10, we need to shorten our recovery time. Here's the deal. No matter how mentally tough you are, there's going to be times where certain no's and rejection gets you. Okay. How fast do you recover? How fast do you get back in the game? How fast do you get back making phone calls? How fast do you get after it? No's is a part of rejection. Does it take you 3 days to get back on your feet? Does it take you 3 hours to get back on your feet? Or does it take you 3 minutes to get back on your feet? The faster your recovery, the faster you will become successful. I want you to work on increasing your recovery time. And I think you just listening to today's message, I think is going to help, because now that you're aware the fact that rejection is not the opposite of success, it's a part of it. You have a different callus that is now on your mind. You have an awareness that's now on your mind. You are prepared for it, so it shouldn't affect you as much. But the fact of the matter is there's going to be times where it does. And if it ever does, your ability to recover, your ability to get back into a positive state, and your ability to get back after it is going to make all the difference. I'm gonna finish with this just story here. Harvard did a study, and you guys might have heard me tell this on a different episode, but Harvard did a study of what separates the top 5 tennis players in the world compared to the top 25 tennis players in the world. If you look at the top 25 tennis players in the world, they are absolutely incredible at what they do. And so Harvard wanted to see, if we're looking at peak performers in the top 25, what separates the peak performers from like the peak performers. And what they found is that the top 5 tennis players in the world are able to get back into a positive state within 5 seconds of error, within 5 seconds of rejection, within 5 seconds of receiving a no on the tennis court. They're able to get back into a positive state. And so that recovery time is everything. And so the quicker your recovery to rejection, the quicker your recovery to your setback, the quicker your recovery to the error, the faster you will win and the faster you will accelerate to the goals and dreams that you have with your life. And so hopefully these points helped you. Rejection is not a bad thing. It's a part of life. Learn to love it, build a strong relationship with it. And if you do, your entire world will change. So guys, thank you for tuning in. If you got something out of today, do me a favor, tell a friend, tell a neighbor, tell somebody. We put out all this content for free. All we ask is that if you ever learn something, you share it with others. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you guys next week.